Story 1. I would probably ask what is going on to make her worry about that. Stress? Mental health issues? Anxiety? Attachment problems? I do not know, man. We all have our struggles sometimes. If she is willing to talk about it and is not being mean, I would not be concerned. If it became a regular thing, I would leave the relationship. I do not have time for that. Story 2. I would probably laugh and throw my phone to her so she could check. I have been married for 11 years, and between work, home, kids, and her, I do not have much time to myself, let alone another relationship. Even if we ended up getting divorced, I do not think I would attempt to date or actively pursue dating. It just seems exhausting nowadays. Story 3. It depends on the basis. My girlfriend is the type to explain why she is feeling the way she does. I would do what I can to demonstrate that no, that is not the case, as long as it does not demand the total surrender of my boundaries. But let's say hypothetically I had a possessive girlfriend who thought me having women friends was automatically cheating. I would not want to be in a relationship with someone who has basically decided I am untrustworthy. Assuming this is a long-term relationship, so I would be looking for the exit. Story 4. Sit down and have a conversation about what led to the accusation. Understand her perspective and the evidence she is relying on. Perhaps someone was spreading harmful rumors during a time when circumstances like long work hours seemed to support the rumor. If her accusation is reasonable but misguided, address the underlying causes. If she responds vaguely about being cheated on in previous relationships or makes unreasonable controlling demands, consider carefully whether this is a relationship you want to continue. Story 5. I've had this happen a few times, and it's due to her heavy depression and anxiety, but there was only one incident that I couldn't blame her for. During an examination while pregnant with our second child, the test showed positive for chlamydia. At the time, I was a co-ed trainer for a trucking company, almost exclusively training women because no other men would do it, and we had no female trainers. I grew up around almost nothing but women in my house, so it was nothing new to me, and I knew how to conduct myself. Professionally, I would either get my students a hotel room for the night and sleep in the truck or vice versa. We never slept in the same place together as it was company policy, and I would never have signed on to becoming a co-ed trainer if that had not been the case. That night, I received a call from my wife, who was still crying and asking if I had slept with one of my trainees. I asked what was bringing this up, and she mentioned the exam results. I trust my wife 100%, and I wouldn't have married her if that were not the case. She's from Germany and was raised devout Catholic, so she has a massive guilt complex. After assuring her I had done no such thing and that it was a false positive, I explained the science behind those tests. I told her that as soon as I got home, I would go straight to the nearest clinic and get tested, and I also told her not to take any medication until she got a second test with me. We both tested negative, and she apologized profusely. I had forgiven her the moment she accused me because I understand how she feels about herself. She is bigger than me and was born and raised in Germany. Being the only big kid in school left her relentlessly bullied all her life because, as superficial as Americans may seem, Germans are far worse. We're still together, going 20 years strong with 3 beautiful girls. We still have our small issues, but we always communicate with each other, which is the most important thing. For some reason, many nurses believe their methods and materials are infallible, but that's simply not the case. Sometimes science messes up, so if any women are reading this, remember to always get a second test at another facility in case the tests used by your nurse or doctor are compromised. The same goes for men. Never believe the first test with 100% certainty. Get a second opinion before you ruin what could be a great relationship. Pride be damned. Story 6. I broke up with my first ever girlfriend in 7th grade because of this. I was not cheating, and I never wanted to cheat, and I would never cheat. I have not thought about that in decades, but apparently I am still upset about it. Story 7. Well, it is getting close to the time I trade in my 40-year-old wife for 2 20-year-olds. Just testing the newer models. She knows I would not do that. Story 8. Talk to me about why you feel this way, and let us address it together. Story 9. And when would I have time to do that? My wife jokes sometimes. It is all in good fun. Story 10. I brought trauma from betrayal and infidelity in a previous relationship to my current one. I spent years working hard to overcome my insecurities and paranoia, so as not to make it his problem. We eventually got married, and I felt secure with no feelings of distrust. I never went through his phone or questioned where he was. Then, 14 years later, I caught him. In small lies and hiding things. I went through his phone and found he had been unfaithful. We are still together, have worked through his issues in couples counseling, and he is staying on the straight and narrow. But the wound in me is deeper than ever. I will never heal from this betrayal. I guess I am permanently damaged. Trust feels impossible after being wounded this way. Story 11. I'm not cheating. What has happened to make you think this? Story 12. I read this as, how to properly convince my girlfriend I am not cheating, when I most certainly am by following Reddit advice of non-cheaters. Story 13. If you were me a decade ago, you would be really confused until you found out she was the one cheating on you with a younger duplicate of yourself. Then, you would lose confidence in yourself for most things for the foreseeable future. Don't be like me a decade ago, kids. Story 14. It depends on how they are asking, as I would actually find that to be very triggering. I have been in one abusive relationship. There is no way I am letting another happen. Story 15. I'm going to share a funny story with you. About 2 years ago, my wife found a pair of women's underwear in a load of laundry. A large pair. She confronted me, and although she didn't outright say it at the start, she was asking where the underwear was from. Then she accused me of cheating. It was her mother's. I hold it against her all the time because I don't cheat, and that is very funny. Story 16. I just found out my wife of 35 years thought I had been cheating for 10 years. She never said a word, never checked my phone or my browsers, and has all of my passwords. For the record, her libido declined 20 years ago. My only outlet has been my right hand. Sometimes I use my left. To answer the question, I have no idea what to say. I am frustrated, hurt, angry, and since I already have major trust issues, I feel completely dead inside, like I have wasted my life. If I did not have my daughter, I would have opted out by now. Story 17. There is no ideal way to handle such a situation. Just play dead like a possum. Also, hire a private investigator because she is most likely the one cheating. Story 18. My wife and I have an agreement that if we feel the need to be unfaithful, we will dissolve the relationship and move on instead of dragging each other through a difficult situation. Story 19. I missed the usual light rail home from my college classes and arrived later than usual. She accused me of cheating on her. I said, in half an hour, I met a new girl, was with her at school, and then came straight home. I think she realized how unreasonable she sounded. It was also suspicious. I wouldn't be surprised if she cheated on me or ended up cheating on me. Story 20. Sadly, no matter what you say, the seeds of doubt have taken root. You may survive this accusation, but she will be looking for signs that she is right with every misstep you make. Story 21. Went through this with my ex. A couple of months into our relationship, I had said some things to someone I should not have, so I understood the potential for suspicion. However, after 9 years with her, the final 4 to 5 years were constant accusations of cheating. I was tired of it all the time, and no answer was ever good enough. I literally kept my phone unlocked, charging in the kitchen just so she could go through it when she wanted. I kept my email, social media, and other accounts all open on my computer, so she could go through them when I was at work. She would still find ways to accuse me of cheating and say there had to be something. I remember flipping out one day, screaming at her that I was so tired of the accusations when there was literally nothing. I unloaded years of pent-up anger, yelling until I lost the ability to talk because there was nothing. I was not doing anything behind her back. I was exhausted from work because I woke up, went to work, came home and slept, then repeated the following day while she stayed home all day long, spending all my money on food delivery until we could not pay bills or rent. Imagine my surprise when later I found out she was cheating on me too. Story 22. Thank you for letting me know what you have been up to. Story 23. This happened to me, but she was justified. A company was giving out free condom samples on campus. I had never heard of the brand. I took one home and tried it on out of curiosity. Then I took it off and threw it in the trash. My girlfriend dropped by my apartment, and the used condom was visibly sitting right on top of the trash can. She looked at it and then at me. I panicked and immediately started groveling on the floor, begging her to believe my story, which sounded like complete nonsense. Somehow, she believed me. Story 24. I date a Latina woman. She moved here 6 years ago from Venezuela. She told me that some men in South America can be trusted far less, so she made it clear from the start that she could get very jealous. I told her it would not be a problem as long as she communicated with me about it. I have been cheated on in the past, so I understand how she feels. Trust me when I say I never have to guess what she is feeling or thinking. She always tells me, sometimes passionately, but never inappropriately. There is a line that is never crossed, and from my point of view, it has never even come close. It just takes communication, and lots of it, especially at first. Took some getting used to. Now, she is much more trusting, but communication is still required, especially if I am going to be late coming to her place or if I am out of contact for 6 to 8 hours. Story 25. If she is accusing me and has proof, and therefore a reason, I am happy to explain myself. If she does not or does not believe my explanation, I do not need to be in that relationship. Story 26. I am sorry if my behavior made it seem I was cheating. It must not feel good to think I am cheating. What am I doing that makes it seem that way? Story 27. I would say, ugh, that sounds exhausting and expensive. I don't have enough self-hatred to subject myself to 2 women. One is bad enough. Story 28. I would immediately assume she is being unfaithful and respond quickly and decisively. Story 29. Let her prove it. Given that I am not cheating, she cannot. I am not going to take on the burden of proving myself innocent. She has the burden of proving me guilty. Story 30. She has one opportunity to retract her accusation or explain why she is accusing me of cheating. A lack of trust effectively ends the relationship. Story 31. Okay, let us book an appointment with a relationship counselor, because I am not going down that road without an objective third party in the room. Story 32. I've been in this situation before. Hand her my phone and car keys, give her free rein of my room, and challenge her to find any evidence, then break up in the ensuing argument. Story 33. I would not say anything. There is no time for all of that. I would just go to my girlfriend's house. Story 34. All about how it is presented in my opinion. If she has suspicions of me and can explain why, I am all for clearing up any confusion. Suspicion comes from somewhere, and as long as I understand, I can probably ease her mind. Communication is key. I would rather break up than cheat. Story 35. 1. Not attractive enough. 2. She knows I absolutely cannot afford it because I tell the truth about how much my hobbies actually cost. 3. She consistently catches me turning my head to look, and it is always a pretty car. Story 36. Having been through a situation like this, I explain to my wife in a calm but direct tone that I am not like her father, and I do not have the patience to deal with another woman in my life. I have made a commitment to her, and upholding that is very important to me. My wife's father was a serial cheater, and my wife thinks all men are like that. Over the years, there have been challenges reassuring her insecurities, and things have improved, but her father did a number on her. Story 37. Ask her if she is menstruating. It gets you out of trouble every time. Story 38. Nothing. If she does not trust me, then it is over. Pack your bags and leave. Story 39. Everyone here is being way too passive. I have spent 10 years building trust and showing on a daily basis that I would not do that. I would be extremely hurt and upset. I would say nothing in my defense because I require none. We would then have a serious discussion about how badly her lack of faith has hurt me and damaged our relationship. Story 40. Tell her I am not, and if she cannot accept that, she should leave unless she can explain how her mind can be changed. I will not argue with someone over paranoid delusions they have invented in their head. Story 41. Some 25 years ago, We were getting ready to leave for the lake, and I got out of the front seat to open the trunk so she could load what she carried. There was a legitimate bra in my trunk, just sitting there. Chaos ensued. I had absolutely no idea what to say. It turned out to be her sister's, from a load of Goodwill donations we had taken out the week before. I've never actually gotten over this incident. She never once apologized for her reaction, which was bad. I got punched, had stuff thrown at me, and my stuff was unceremoniously tossed out. I was at a loss, just like a deer in the headlights. There was absolutely nothing I could say. About 6 hours later, they found out whose bra it was. 2 days later, I found out whose bra it was. To Stephanie Schultz and her sister. This is unforgivable. Story 42. No. I understand that you would not make an accusation unless you were feeling insecure or someone had persuaded you that I was. However, if you know me at all, you know that integrity is more important to me than anything I would gain from straying. So let us have a conversation about what caused your concern, and then once we have addressed that, I would like to talk about how I feel about the accusation. Story 43. I love you. I am an open book. Look through my phone if you want, but more than anything, I want you to trust me. If that means I do not speak to or be around the person you think I am cheating with, I will do that because I love you. I will block them on everything. I do not want to lose you. I believe we would be better by allowing each other freedom, spending more time together, and communicating better. Let me know what you need. Story 44. Deny it. Ask why she thinks that. It could be a misunderstanding or miscommunication. If it is not, and she is just paranoid for no good reason, run for the hills. A relationship without trust is dead on arrival. Story 45. I would ask how she caught me and take the hotels off the board. Story 46. Probably ask to sit down and talk about it. People have insecurities, and if there is some reason that this is the outcome they think happened, I would like to know why and see if there is something we can do to alleviate the concerns. If this becomes a recurring topic, I may have concerns as to why this is what is being fixated on. Realistically, if there is a lack of trust for some reason, clearly there is something unhealthy in the relationship that needs to be addressed. Story 47. Last time, she accused me of cheating because she was cheating. Story 48. If she accused me of cheating without any proof, I would probably break up with her. Story 49. I would deny it and then wonder how long she has been having the affair. Guilty parties are the first to accuse. Story 50. I just found a random sock in my laundry the other day. There wasn't anybody else in our household. It was a medium white Nike sock. It wouldn't fit beyond my heel. Obviously, it was not mine. It was very strange. There is absolutely no way I could have brought it home. I never take off my socks outside of my home. My partner's workplace actually provides socks that employees change in and out of. Anyway, she angrily accused me, saying I should be the one who knows where the sock came from, implying I had gotten it from another woman. I immediately responded by joking that she was a small-footed man at home. She laughed. While we still don't know whose sock it was, I am confident in my commitment to our marriage and would never betray her trust. She is literally my best friend too. She has access to everything of mine. I have nothing to hide. So when I'm accused of cheating, I am always fully prepared to talk it out. Why would I worry? Story 51. Every accusation is a confession. End the relationship. Story 52. People who accuse others of cheating without any evidence are usually the ones cheating. Are you cheating on me? Story 53. I would ask why she feels that way and talk it through with her. Typically, a woman will accuse you of cheating for one of two reasons. Either she has insecurity issues or she feels neglected or unloved by you. Either way, it means you are not doing enough to help her feel secure in your relationship. Relationships are never 50-50 in the work put in. Usually, one partner needs to put in more effort to help the other feel loved. If the relationship is worth it, then put in the work. Story 54. This actually happened to me. My solution was a bit unorthodox. I told her it was all true. I admitted to sleeping with several women, all her friends, even her mother. Of course, I did not do any of that. But she was crazy. The fallout was epic. Anyway, I moved on. Best decision ever. Story 55. What on earth makes you think that? Get ready to leave her. A person who believes you would cheat when you never would is not someone you want to build a life with. Story 56. If my wife accused me of cheating, I would ask her to prove her case. Then I would disprove her evidence. I would reassure her that I love her and offer any proof she desired. I have no qualms about handing her my phone. Story 57. As a man who cheated on some of his girlfriends in the past and now does not do it at all, I have to say if your girlfriend is accusing you of cheating, most likely you made her feel that way. Story 58. Simply, I would say I am not. Then ask the question, what am I doing to make you suspect that I am cheating on you? You have free access to my phone, computer emails, and even the computers that I use. If there is some action I am doing, such as spending time away from home, this is whatever I do during this time. Check on me. You are welcome to go with me when I see my friends. We are not doing anything inappropriate. In my situation, my significant other manages the checking account, and she is free to ask about my expenditures. If this was not the case, I would show her what my expenses are for and what I spend. Open and honest. Story 59. That happened with my last girlfriend. The first time I talked to her, I was able to convince her that I was not cheating. It was her past experiences with men that were making her paranoid. The second time, I said I was not going to live in a state of constant distrust and broke up with her. Story 60. I barely have enough money and time for one woman. Do you think I want to? Story 61. Too many men think they can be logical and reasonable. If she has decided you are cheating even though you are not, it is already a feelings issue. She will feel betrayed, unless she is projecting, and no matter what you say, she will not believe you. I have witnessed women being given ironclad proof the man is not cheating and still refusing to believe. If she reaches a point where she is accusing you, the trust is already gone. You are better off walking away and letting her believe what she wants. Especially in a long-term relationship, if after however long you have been together she still does not trust you, she never will, and that will only lead to more arguments. It is unfortunate, but that is the truth. Better to walk away and be lonely than to stay without peace. For the record, the question says she is already accusing you. Considering mental state and depression, some people might have doubts sometimes, but if there is trust, they should at least ask and try to communicate first. If she is accusing you without proof, that is a step further. There is no trust, and it is pointless to try at that point. Story 62. My wife has witnessed me cutting people out of my life for more than 30 years because I found out they cheated on their spouse. I do not tolerate cheaters. My first wife accused me constantly of cheating, but it turned out she was the one who was cheating. Story 63. I don't think you can have a functioning relationship without trust. If she doesn't trust me, there is some kind of deeper problem going on, probably time for some therapy. Story 64. What is his name? They are projecting and trying to make you feel bad because you are their safety net. They are cheating. Story 65. She is probably cheating and projecting. Either that or she is insecure. Story 66. Doesn't matter what I say in that case. Nothing. Obviously, she doesn't trust me, so I would seriously question the relationship. I don't want to date someone who thinks I would cheat. It sounds like she doesn't even know me. Life is too short for that. I'm pretty sure I could get a call from someone named Baby Girl Side Chick or something like that, and my girlfriend of 9 years wouldn't think I cheat on her. I would be confused and curious about that contact, but that's it. Story 67. Every situation is unique, but my first reaction would be to strongly consider breaking up with her. Her accusing me of cheating means she does not trust me, and you cannot have a healthy relationship without trust. Maybe you could build the trust back up, but it will never be the same after being accused. I am one of those people who has always said I would rather die than be a cheater, and I mean it, so that would ruin everything for me. Story 68. I dated a girl one time, and within 3 months, she was accusing me of cheating on her. I had been married twice before, and when I hear this, I instantly wonder what she is doing that makes her feel guilty enough to accuse me. I was right. She was the one cheating on me. Story 69. No, I'm not. Here's my phone. I'd also ask what makes her think I'm cheating. If she keeps accusing me, then I'll break up with her. I was told a while ago that if your partner accuses you of cheating, it is because your partner knows they would cheat and thinks you are capable of it as well. Story 70. What are his names? Usually, there is no reason. They are projecting something for which they are guilty themselves. Story 71. I would give a massive side eye and do one of those laughing, okay sounds people make, then keep doing what I was doing at that moment. Mostly because, as someone who has been cheated on previously, my wife knows I hate cheating down to a DNA level. So the odds of that accusation being made against me are zero. If it were brought up, it would be a massive attack on my character and who I am as a person. Story 72. If it were my wife, then I would work it out with her somehow. If it were a not serious girlfriend, then I would tell her to leave and not come back. Story 73. Explain the situation where she claims I cheated and consider asking her some questions. Sometimes, when an accusation of cheating is made, it is possible that the other person has also done something wrong that you do not know about. Story 74. Projection. If she falsely suspects you are cheating without any triggering event or suspicious behavior on your part, it is because she believes anyone would cheat. What does that say about her? Think carefully before you answer. Story 75. I would try to understand why she thinks that. I have been accused before of wanting to cheat, and it is usually just paranoia. I have told them that I do not cheat because if I wanted to be with another woman, I would just break up with them and be with that other woman. I cannot handle two women in my life. I have said this in a matter-of-fact manner. That usually stops the accusations. The one woman it did not stop was because she was cheating on me. Story 76. My girl would come up with nonsense at the beginning of our relationship. At first, I tried to explain and prove to her that nothing was going on. After a couple of times, I was fed up and just told her to come with me with evidence of me actually doing something, not all this someone said or this looked weird. The nonsense stopped pretty quickly after that. Story 77. You do not have any proof of me cheating. All you have is, at best, suspicion or maybe rumor. I know this because I have not been cheating. Story 78. It is funny. I was accused of being a cheater, only to find out she was cheating. Story 79. I've had this happen before. I offered to swap phones for a bit since I have nothing to hide. She outright refused. It did not take a genius to figure out she was cheating. They always suspect you are as much of an asshole as they are. So that would be my reaction. I would suspect her of cheating. Story 80. I would point out that all I do is work, then come home and play games. When is this cheating occurring? Story 81. The guilty person has the best accusations. They convince themselves that what they are doing is not wrong and then accuse their partner of exactly what they are doing. Story 82. 1. Ask her what evidence she has to suggest it. To be on very high alert that she is cheating. Cheaters are notorious for being accusatory against the person they are cheating on. Watch her behavior closely for signs, especially with the phone. Story 83. I would say I am not and ask her why she would think that. Story 84. I've had this happen several times. I first ask what makes her think that. Then I ask what proof or evidence she has. 9 times out of 10, she has absolutely nothing, and it is her own insecurities. At that point, I reassure her that I am not doing anything and that I never hide my phone. I have no problem with her going through it if she is feeling that way. I follow this up with a very serious message at the same time. While I have no problem with all that, her insecurities must not become a problem where this happens regularly. I am 40 years old, and we are far too old to be dealing with this kind of issue now. Story 85. Assuming she is not being abusive or controlling, ask her why she thinks that. If the reasons are somewhat understandable, such as an unexplained change in routine, late nights, or a change in appearance, acknowledge that and invite her to join you in whatever you are doing. That is different. If it seems to be for no reason at all, then she is probably projecting or has not come to terms with the hurt of someone cheating on her before you. Either way, your relationship is on shaky ground and may end soon. False accusations are relationship poison. Be mindful that most reasonable people would consider accusing their partner of infidelity to be the nuclear option and only voice it when they are more than 90% sure. Story 86. Simply cheat. So she does not accuse you anymore. This is a joke. Story 87. Honestly, I would ask why or what makes them think I am. If they are accusing me, they would likely have something pointing to that conclusion, and it is important to address that. Other than that, I would talk to them and let them check my phone and belongings if they wanted to. Beyond that, I do not know what I can really say to convince them other than telling them where I was and who I was with at the time they suspect me of cheating. Story 88. Not gonna lie, if someone accuses you of cheating and you are not cheating, it might mean that she is cheating. It is one of those stereotypes that often ends up being true. Story 89. If you accuse someone of cheating, then one way or another, the relationship is over. Story 90. I would ask, when did I do that? I work from home, so I do not have work colleagues, and I barely leave the house. Story 91. The odds of two women finding me sexually attractive are very unlikely. Story 92. Calm down. You are acting just like your mother. Are you on your menstrual cycle or something? Story 93. Look at all of my electronics. Here are all of my passwords. Now let me see yours, and we will go through each other's in front of one another. Story 94. Whatever you say, just be calm and cooperative. This is not a time to get offended because she thinks you are cheating. If she thinks you are cheating, that is the only thing on her mind. Let her search your phone and give rational responses to anything inconclusive. Do not lie. Be consistent in your responses. Story 95. I cannot be held responsible for what I did in your dreams. Story 96. I believe you are sincere, but you are also wrong. What led you to believe I am cheating? Internally, I am boiling because I have very low tolerance for accusations against my loyalty. Very low tolerance. Story 97. I am sorry, but your sister uses much more saliva than you. Please forgive me. Story 98. I had this exact situation happen. She ended our relationship, and it was the best thing to ever happen to me. Story 99. Find proof, then leave me. Don't find proof, then stop it. You have a month before this gets too far for me. I have been there, done that, twice. I left the first and married the second one. Story 100. I would likely break up with them. I do not want to be in any more relationships where trust and communication are not high priorities. If they do not trust me or if they think I am a liar, I do not need to be with them. Story 101. When she does that, it means that she is being unfaithful to him. Story 102. What have I done to lose your trust? I will fix it, then mean it and fix it if you can, or end the relationship. Story 103. In a calm voice, say something along the lines of, it seems you are feeling angry, and this leads to a sense of doubt about us and my actions. Then stay quiet. Listen to her. It is much more important to learn where the feelings of doubt are coming from than the actual accusation. Remember to stay calm and actively listen. Story 104. You think I have enough energy to put up with you and another woman? Story 105. Not sure, to be completely honest. If trust has broken down to the point where she could make the worst accusation in a relationship, then there may not be enough trust left for the truth to matter. The more emphatically you insist on the truth, the guiltier you may appear in that situation. There is no winning. I would suggest an ultimatum, marriage counseling or divorce. Story 106. Ask for proof. If she has none or disregards the request to mitigate, just walk away because the trust is gone and cannot come back. There will be more accusations. Story 107. It wasn't me. Story 108. I would ask if there were any behaviors that led her to that conclusion. I would happily give her my phone for her peace of mind, but I would also see if I can notice any patterns that may indicate projection. Story 109. What evidence do they have that you cheated? Hardcore solid evidence like pictures, videos, texts, and so on. Not some rumors told by a friend or some fake scenario they saw in a dream. Story 110. Ask why she had that impression or idea, and if it had no substance at all, see if there is something behind it, such as her cheating and trying to find an excuse. Tricky situation. Story 111. I wouldn't know what to say, and I believe there isn't much to say. If your partner is convinced that you are cheating, You can't convince them otherwise. If you haven't done anything, yet they are still convinced you did, anything you say will just sound like a lame explanation or excuse. Even if you could convince them for now, that thought would still be in their head, waiting to cause trouble again next time. Story 112. Let's walk through the evidence and see what validity the claim has. To keep it fair, let's do it for both of us. Story 113. I would not argue because there is nothing I have to prove. Her suspicions are either her projecting because she feels guilty or she has issues with trust from past relationships that make her feel insecure. If the latter is the case, be patient because these things take time to get over. There has to be effort on her end, especially if you are not doing things to contribute to those feelings. Story 114. What can I do to strengthen the bond of our relationship? An accusation of cheating may result from a lack of security of the accuser, such as low self-esteem or low self-worth. This can lead to the belief that the significant other is looking for somebody else, which leads to the accusation. Story 115. Honestly, just move on if that is the case. False positives in cheating accusations are extremely rare, usually projection in popular psychology, and also rarely recoverable. Give up and work on better communication and trust in the next relationship. Story 116. Most of the time we try to accuse others of our own guilty actions. Understand? Press F to pay respects to the original poster. Story 117. It is the same as if someone thought I told a lie. Just sit there and endure it until time proves my innocence. Story 118. I'm not a man, but my love, what did I do to not make you feel secure? Was the most beautiful answer ever. We women need to feel secure. Otherwise, those thoughts come up. It is about finding out what exactly makes you feel insecure, our own insecurities or the behavior of the other person. I guess it is a good opportunity to work together, grow in love, and become the best and most secure person you can be for yourself and others. Story 119. Thank you for the compliment regarding my imaginary confidence boost. Story 120. It has taken me this long to get one woman interested in me. What makes you think I have two? Story 121. Within reason, I can accommodate trust issues. We all have our demons and upbringings. However, it does come to a point where your trust issues become a serious inconvenience, annoyance, stress, and outright emotional abuse. I am not going to try to sympathize. It is one thing to ask many questions about a suspicious topic. I would do the same. Insecurity is only being human, but not even giving me a chance to tell my side of the story is unacceptable. Story 122. Is this projection? Does she have a good reason to suspect something? Or is there something going on with her? Story 123. I guess I would play along and say I cheated and made up some things along the way. Story 124. I do not even leave the house. When can I even cheat? Story 125. That I did not do it. Yes, simple as that. And then the table turns, and now she would need to prove it. I sleep like a baby because I am certain that I am faithful. Story 126. Sorry to disappoint, but no, is all you can say. Unfortunately, when my wife leaves the house, other men make comments toward her, and sometimes she gets approached. Men can be disrespectful. I think she believes everyone behaves that way. Story 127. You just leave. No one has time for constant insecurity and drama. Story 128. You will never lose me because of another woman. However, if you do not trust me, you will lose me because of yourself. You get to choose now where this goes from here. Story 129. When? If I'm not with her, I'm with either my daughter, on the phone or otherwise, or my grandson. Why would I add another person to the mix? Story 130. I think we have a problem. I am not cheating on you, but proving a negative is essentially impossible. Even if you believe me that I am not cheating, we clearly have a deeper problem. You are either insecure about our relationship, or you do not trust me, or you are projecting. None of these are good situations, and if this is to be resolved, we have to do a better job of honestly communicating. Story 131. Roll with it, ask her why she thinks that, and show her that I am not. My significant other is messed up 9 ways to Sunday due to past abusive relationships. I generally recognize when her issues are rearing their ugly heads, and we can work through it. Story 132. Told her if she truly thinks I am cheating, then there is the door. See you. Story 133. I haven't necessarily been accused but have been asked, which is a line that can get blurred. She says I'm a bad liar, so there are some layers of inherent trust that are present, even if specific situations sometimes put blinders on those. A little bit of communication then goes a long way. Story 134. Ask if they are cheating. Usually, the person who cheats is accusatory because they believe they know how to cheat and think everyone else is doing it. Story 135. I would ask what made her think that way and try to understand where she is coming from. To be honest, I do not think she would ever believe I would. Story 136. There is not much to say. The person already has the idea in their mind, and you will not be the one to change it. I know from personal experience. Story 137. Your mom and sister are lying if they said we have ever had mind-blowing, sheet wrinkling, paint peeling off the walls, wake up all the neighbors' bouts of intercourse. Story 138. I am not cheating. If you ask me, you must have a guilty conscience. Maybe I should ask you the same question. Story 139. I am lucky to have one woman who wants to be with me. Finding another one is impossible and not worth risking the first one. Story 140. This happened before. She had serious trust issues because her ex-fiancé cheated on her a lot, which led to our breakup. I remember I used to stay calm and explain myself, but I got tired of constantly defending myself, so I ended it. This was one of the few times I was the one to end the relationship. Story 141. PSH, I get accused all the time. My response is always, when? When would I have the time to cheat? She gives me way more credit than I deserve, to be honest. Story 142. I would ask which one of her single friends told her this. Single women keep other women single. Story 143. I think my first reaction would be to laugh at the idea. I have never cheated and never had the inclination. Then I would ask what had given her that impression. Story 144. You really think I have the ability to attract another girl? Story 145. What about the other way around? My husband has accused me of cheating with my previous boss, which is absolutely false. I tried not to get mad the first time and attempted to communicate and discuss why he thought that. It has continued to come up several more times after that, and he refuses to believe me. What do you say? Story 146. Does she tend to show narcissistic characteristics? Probably projecting. Story 147. I would cheat, be accused, and not believe, so I might as well do it. Story 148. I hardly have time to play games, let alone cheat. Simply finding someone else delusional enough to want to would be too much effort. Story 149. I am not a man, but as a woman, if she is accusing, she is probably feeling guilty for doing it herself and projecting it onto you. Story 150. I had that one time. Came home from a night with the boys and got accused. I just asked her if she wanted to smell me. A girl I know had a better retort. She said she took off her panties, handed them to her husband, and said, "Throw them against the ceiling. If they stick, you know I had a good time." Story 151. What is it that I am doing that makes you think I am doing that, and what am I not doing that assures you I would not? Story 152. Please provide appropriate content for text-to-speech conversion. Story 153. It has been a long time since someone asked me about that. My initial reaction was to laugh. Sure, I have this relationship with one person going so well. Let's expand that to 2. What could go wrong? Then I realized it was most likely something she was doing. So I asked, how long have you been cheating? We broke up because I was correct. I am really glad to be married. Story 154. Calmly, I love them, and they are the ones for me. I would never do that to them. No aggression. Story 155. How? My ex-wife would constantly accuse me, even though we were almost never apart. It was as if she believed someone was teleporting into the bathroom to be with me while I was using it. Story 156. It happened to me once and my genuine first reaction was to laugh. That definitely confused her. Story 157. If I am going to receive punishment although I am innocent, I might consider committing the crime so that I do not suffer unfairly. Story 158. I suggest swapping phones for 15 minutes and then deciding on the status of our relationship. Story 159. I would be done with her. I have better things to do than defend myself from false accusations. Story 160. I honestly told her that no one was interested in hooking up with me, so even if I wanted to cheat, I couldn't. Story 161. Show me your phone. Not a man, sorry, but cheaters are cheaters, no matter the gender. Is she cheating? They are always accusing the loyal partner of what the cheaters, are doing. Agree to look at each other's phones, and then if everything is honest, go from there. Story 162. Apparently, I am supposed to admit it so that she can either work through it and stay in the relationship or leave me. Anything else is gaslighting. Story 163. Denial inevitably makes you look guilty. At an old job, the guys in information technology would play pranks on each other. They started hiding a woman's sweater in random places, and one day, one of them snuck it into another's bag. The man unknowingly took it home for the weekend. The problem started because none of us knew that he and his wife were going through a rough patch. He came home with this random woman's sweater in his bag. The next day, he went into their bedroom and found his laundry folded neatly with the woman's sweater folded on top. His wife did not say a word about it. The way the man told that story was that the more he protested his innocence, the more guilty he appeared. Oh yeah, see the guys at work, we have this game, it's just a prank, and God damn it, Ryan. Story 164. I work from home, so I spend a lot of time with my wife and daughter. She knows I am proud of the fact I have never cheated, so why would I start now? My wife is my best friend. Unless you are Kate Beckinsale, keep walking because I am not interested. My wife and I are okay with Kate for one another, by the way. Story 165. We were doing so well until you stopped trusting me just now. Story 166. Nope, right out. Likely projection, and even if not now, we both have the seeds planted. Story 167. Easy. I would tell her I will take a lie detector test. Maury Povich says the lie detector proves I am not cheating. Story 168. Trust is very important. If she does not trust me, the relationship will end. Story 169. Obviously joking. But I am not interested in being in a relationship for now, so I do not have to worry about these things. I have my studies to focus on. Story 170. Depends on why she thought I was cheating. Chances are I would do my best to explain that I am not that person. However, if she says she saw it in a dream or some horoscope thing, I might have to tease her a little bit on general principle. Story 171. If I am accused, my first question would be why she thinks that, and I would assume she is projecting. I do not cheat, I never have, and I would never give a reason to suspect it. Therefore, it could only be her own guilt and behavior that would make her question what I am doing. For reference, this just happened to me. I was questioned even though I was not doing anything, but it turned out she was. Story 172. I am too lazy for a second girlfriend. Do you have any idea how much energy and money the first one requires? Story 173. Just say no, I am not cheating. I swear no one says this. It is all word salad. Story 174. My wife says she would never cheat on me because she has too much time invested in my training. Story 175. I tell her I have no desire to disappoint two women and that she is stuck with me. Story 176. I have always dreaded my natural red face as lying for me even when I was not. Almost as expected, the one time I got accused of cheating, my face turned very red. She actually called it out. Then why is your face getting red? I just straight out said, because you are accusing me of cheating and it is making me feel embarrassed. I had no idea that was a valid excuse. Story 177. I barely have enough energy and time to keep you mildly satisfied and happy. How am I keeping more than one? Story 178. If I am cheating, she must be upset because I have not called or seen her in a long time. Story 179. This is one of the many situations for which a universal reverse card comes in handy. Story 180. This situation again? Please take your medication and remain calm. Story 181. It is time to leave. It only gets worse. I do not wish that on any brother. Story 182. Anytime I have been accused of this, I just laugh because it is kind of funny. Story 183. I used to date this woman who constantly accused me of cheating. It was more tiring than anything else. I didn't really care because I knew I wasn't cheating. She probably was, but I have the attitude that if I am uncertain, I don't accuse someone of doing something because if I accuse them, why wouldn't they start? I already think they do it and I'm there, so thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.